All right, this is Dan here with CLV Boost, and today we're going to be covering a topic called how I grew my e-commerce business from zero to over $70,000 per month in just a bit over 2 years. And this is a story of one of my own companies that I'm running now, and just like my first company that I started, I plan on selling it. My first business was a physical services business in the fitness and martial arts space. The business in e-commerce that I'm growing now is also in sort of the fitness and martial arts world as well, but it's a totally different business model. A lot of the similar business tools that we use in service and in e-commerce we're going to bring together in the basic case study of how we broke this mark. How did we get beyond $70,000 per month? What were the skills that we really put in place? So we're going to talk about this in three phases. The first phase is going to be organic and affiliate traffic. This is basically how do we get a lot of people to our websites at any given time, to get onto our email list, to purchase our products, to generate interest in our brand and the products and services that we offer. The second phase, we'll be talking about email marketing and marketing automation. What are the subtle differences that we use in sort of a more unique way to grow our e-commerce business faster than maybe others do or others have? And then third, I'll be talking about giving them what they want. This is product creation and essentially how to create products that are a perfect match for your ideal customer and end up having significantly better conversion rates because you're building something that other people actually want. Oftentimes in the traditional e-commerce world, there is not as much emphasis on that as there is in, let's say, the startup field today. Building something people want is something tech startups talk about. For whatever reason, in e-commerce, people often think, if we build it, they will come. There's already a demand for what we have, but our philosophy is to build what people are actually looking for and build what people care about. So we'll talk about this in three quick phases using my own business as a case study. Of course, these same exact systems, everything from traffic generation to email automation to product creation and beyond, is exactly what our blueprint members, so our coaching and advisory members, are learning from us. We have many of people who've literally kind of stolen exactly what we've done, stolen by our own tutelage. In other words, we showed them how to do exactly the same things that we did in the e-commerce space and build six-figure businesses from scratch in a matter of months, or double or triple their revenue over the course of 4 or 5 months by replicating a lot of the same systems that we've done here. These are also a lot of the same skills and a lot of the same strategies that we implement with businesses that are already seven figures, whether that be service businesses, software companies who already come to us doing a pretty good clip, established businesses making money already, who want to be able to enhance their profitability, who want to leverage email and direct marketing in a more effective way. So of course, this is what people come to us for, but it's a useful case study and example because we're always getting questions, and basically all of our initial CLV Boost clients were folks who were asking about how the heck did you do this in your first business. So we'll talk first about traffic, okay? I'm going to use this little marker here. I'm using a program called Sketch, which I really enjoy. A lot of fun to draw with this thing. So, okay, so I'm going to use this to represent my website, okay, this little blue box here, and I'm going to use this little @ sign to represent my own email list. So my own list of subscribers and customers, and then this will be my own website here, okay? These over here, I'm putting little red dots on them all. These are going to represent websites that I contribute content to. So these would be sites that I've done some guest blogging for, or have been a guest on their podcast, or things along those lines. Websites where I can contribute content. Normally, these are websites. I like to look for websites over a PR score of 5. So Google's PageRank score of 5. I prefer to be only contributing content to websites that have that degree of clout and credibility in Google's eyes. So these are websites I contribute content to. So what a lot of people will do when they first start off in marketing online, e-commerce, internet marketing, doesn't matter, is they will find other folks who have a large following in an email list, maybe other affiliates or other e-commerce companies, and they'll say, hey, why don't you send an email to my website? And so this is our affiliate or our partner or someone else in our industry. Why don't you send an email to our website, and then that'll build up our email list? Why don't you do that for us? And then this person says, can you do the same? In other words, can you help us out? Can you sell our products? Now, in the beginning, I did not have an email list to speak of. I had a couple dozen people, so I could not reciprocate. And so instead of banging down the door and asking for a favor that I could never return, what I did instead is I just started off being as much of a go-giver as I possibly could in the domain of contributing content. So I went to all these various websites. I interviewed experts in my field. Okay, I've since done this again in the marketing space, but I've done this in fitness. We did this in martial arts. We'll just use martial arts as an example. One of a dozen spaces that us or our customers and clients sell in right now on the internet. So I went to all these various martial arts websites. I interviewed some great experts in that field, and I wrote some great content for their sites. And what I would do is I would use those articles to link back to my page. So I would write for a number of different websites, sort of linking back to my own page. And gradually, we use this traffic back to my own site to build up my own email list. So you kind of get some trickling traffic writing for these sites and building my own email list. Trickling traffic writing for these sites, building my email list. Write for this one, drive to my website, let that build some email action there as well. And I did this over and over and over and wrote for these websites. This was for a number of months. No email list to speak of. After I'd done this, I'd built up a little bit of a trickle. It wasn't a major email list, but I had built up something. What I then started to do is I went to those same bigger affiliates, already established players in my same field and niche and domain. And what I did is I said, hey, what I can do for you, I may not have a big email list, but what I can do for you is I can either interview you or maybe one of your colleagues or someone that you work with, and I can write articles about you, and I can mention you in some of those articles. So I would help them out by getting them blog traffic, which didn't take me a whole email list to build. All I did was write good articles and contribute them to these sites. And then I started linking back to these affiliate or joint venture partners or fellow e-commerce business owners. I would link back to their website and help build their email list and their base of customers by sending them relevant backlinks from these sites. These were just the same as I started for myself, legitimate articles covering topics that these readers would enjoy. I was just mentioning some of the other players in the field. At the same time, these same articles were linking back to me, building up my own aggregate web presence, my own aggregate kind of link portfolio, if you will, and my own clout in Google and building my own email list at the same time. So I was doing a favor that this other fellow, or these other fellows, I should say, in the e-commerce space were unable to do for themselves. And this was deliver links for them from other blogs and websites that had a lot of credibility. Now, what that did, when I drove them enough links, and I said, hey, you know what I can do is I can interview you. I'll feature you on 4 different websites. I'll link back to you so that people know where to find you. You know, hopefully drive you some traffic and get you some quality links and have some really solid articles written in, about you and your own insights that these readers would really enjoy in exchange, because I don't really have an email list. I'm going to write all these articles for you from scratch. I'm just going to ask you to send a couple emails to my own website. This might be to an opt-in page where I get somebody to give me their email address, or it might be to a purchase page. And I might have this big e-commerce player or affiliate send to one of my purchase pages. So I started off with no email list, no ability to reciprocate with email blasts, as they're called. I don't really like to call them blasts, but instead I contributed with content. And so I provided them backlinks they would not have gotten otherwise, traffic they may not have gotten otherwise, and they reciprocated by driving to my website, and in that way I built my own email list. So let's try to draw that with this crazy little marker here. There we go. So this is essentially the way that I built my email list to start, is I linked back to myself, and once I had a bunch of registered logins on these websites and they were used to me contributing quality content, I started linking to some of the other partners, desired partners in my field, and I asked in response, could they please just do this? I'll send them X number of links, I'll write all these articles, can they please just send an email directly to me? And now after doing this over time for a number of these other partners, so, this is an orange person. I just used the color orange to represent someone else. I did this with somebody else and somebody else and somebody else and somebody else and kept a constant outpouring of quality content on these websites. This helped my organic search rankings rise. So I started getting more people just from organic Google search, never mind all the backlinks from these sites, which was more traffic, already building my list. On top of that, I was compiling these articles linking to partners to be incentives for them to drive emails to me. So now I had my own organic listing. I had links from these particular websites going directly to my page and opt-in pages and products. And then I had my affiliate partners because they were getting linked and they were getting mentioned, and I was interviewing them for quality content that they would not want to take the time to write articles as detailed as what I was doing. They were driving traffic for me as well. So now I had 3 sources of traffic. I eventually built up my own email list to be rather strong. So my own email list became powerful enough to be its own entity, to kind of hold its own weight. We built tens of thousands of people on an email list, at which point we could just go to more or less any of the affiliates that we wanted, any of the e-commerce partners that we wanted. We said, hey, we can drive a ton of traffic for you. I'll just ask that you do the same. So now, instead of doing this roundabout blogging factor that we had to do before, we could just wheel a lot of traffic, and we could ask our partners to wield a lot of traffic for us as well. We turned that into a trade. At the same time, we kept up this article writing to continue contributing to our e-commerce partners, and also continue contributing to our own social media rankings and search engine rankings, and our own continuous mentions on these quality websites. So that's how we built traffic from scratch. Now the question moves into, how did we build up our sales with automated email marketing? How did we turn all of these hits from affiliate partners directly, from links from these websites directly, from our heightened ability to show up in social, how do we turn those visits into actual dollars? Well, we did that with automated email, and that's what we're going to move into next. All right, so next up, we'll speak to what we did with email marketing in order to automate our sales and make as many sales as possible per every opt-in or per every website visitor. What some internet marketers do, I'm using these little @ signs to represent individual emails in a marketing automation sequence, okay? What many internet marketers or e-commerce players will do is they'll have, when somebody opts in or enters their information, they'll, in addition to sending them a monthly or weekly newsletter, which is usually rather boring and not all that interesting, they will send day after day a lot of aggressive offers to try to make as many sales as possible in the first few days. I'm not inherently against this, but what most people do is they'll inherently go hard right off the bat for offers. So try to make a sale, 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 etc. And after all that is said and done, they sort of give up. And then that person becomes, whoever subscribed after receiving this pretty aggressive sequence, they'll just end up in a monthly or quarterly, whatever it is, broadcast email that says, hey everybody, here's our new products, here's what's going on, etc. Broadcast emails normally aren't all that well thought out. But we wanted to take email a little bit more seriously because we started with no traffic and absolutely no email list. So we really needed the sales. When I first started, I very much had to get this business off the ground, and so I didn't want to do a short, sort of impolite initial sequence just trying to get the sale, a few times and then give up and stop talking to people. What a lot of other e-commerce business might do if they want to come across as, so we did not, I'll just be clear, we did not use this strategy. What many other e-commerce players might do is they'll send more, so these green emails are representing sort of offers, direct pitch for an offer. Is what a lot of e-commerce players will do is they'll do more bland marketing. Well, they'll just sort of send out more newsletter and update type information. So blue in this case is going to represent education. So these are going to be educational tutorial videos. And black will just be sort of updates about the company. Kind of just, hey, we're still here. We hired a new head of marketing. We showed up at this conference, and here's some pictures of us at a conference. So they're just sort of conveying kind of bland information, which oftentimes isn't all that useful to the customers. So maybe it makes you seem like a real person, but oftentimes, with some situations as exceptions, I suppose, they don't really care when you have a new intern, or when you show up at a particular conference, or if you all went out together in Vegas for like a team building exercise. So a lot of these kind of bland marketing that wasn't really related to the customers or the prospects' needs, we wanted to cut out. We saw that some folks were doing some good education with their autoresponders and their emails, but in addition to education, we knew that we'd have to make some bucks. So instead of doing sort of a lot of very bland messaging, or a few aggressive pitches and then stopping, we decided to combine the two. And I've initially did this by modeling many folks who I really believe are kind of the best of the best when it comes to email marketing. Other folks in the e-commerce space who I think do this very well. HubSpot is a company that I talk about often. There's other players in sort of the information marketing and in the product marketing space that I decided to model. But what we decided to do, I'm going to turn this back into a red marker in a second. What we decided to do was spend our first few emails reiterating the core value proposition that we were appealing to. So in the martial arts space, okay, and again, I have clients in a ton of different niches and industries. Science of Skill, which is our $70,000 a month business, is currently in 3 industries right now, essentially replicating the same exact process across 3 different niches and replicating it over and over. This is just an example in the martial arts space. But when I first started off, and I wasn't doing any more than a couple $1,000s a month. This was in the early months. Our initial bonding emails that we would make with the folks who opted in were reiterating the core value proposition. So a lot of e-commerce stores really don't have a core value proposition. In other words, they're selling something that somebody else could just as well sell, and it really doesn't matter who you buy it from, and they don't really have anything all that unique. Or if they do, they're just not marketing it very well. In the martial arts space, my focus was always on teaching people who were smaller or weaker. One of my sort of claims to fame in the martial arts space was beating bigger opponents. So going to tournaments and facing people twice my size and choking them out or beating them in a martial arts contest in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or submission grappling or the like. And so we really angled our martial arts products around showing people who aren't necessarily the biggest or strongest how to beat somebody who's bigger and stronger. So what we wanted to do in the beginning was not only reintroduce myself and our other instructors, but in addition to that, connect with these people and reiterate to them that this is why you're here. We teach, you can learn, general martial arts skills wherever you want, I suppose, but what we teach is how to beat bigger and stronger opponents. So we spent these 2 emails that I've colored pink, focusing on building a relationship, conveying our company as sort of the person to go to for this very particular need, and again, very thoroughly conveying our value proposition. Instead of a bunch of disjointed company updates or a bunch of overly aggressive initial offers that stop after a couple days, I wanted to spend the first 2 reminding people, this is why you're here. You're here because we're the company that helps with this, and we really help this kind of person. And we bonded with our initial opt-ins, we still do with this business, for our first few days, never really mentioning any products in any kind of overt sense. Really giving our own company background, reiterating the core value proposition, which is, if you're wary about it, which is essentially the motivation that they have to keep listening to you. If people get 2 or 3 aggressive pitches in a row and you haven't explained why you can really help them, it's very likely the 4th and 5th email are not going to get opened. But if you spend the first 2 actually showing that you care and why you care and what you believe you can genuinely help them with, and if you pre-frame the fact that you're going to let them know about your products, you pre-frame the fact that you're going to educate them, then they're much more likely to open email 12, never mind just email 6. So our initial autoresponder sequences were often about 3 weeks or longer, and we would spend the first 2 in mostly relationship building and reiterating our value prop. Then we would go into education, followed by an offer of some kind, normally for a recurring income program such as a membership site or a subscription service or something along those lines. Then we would go back into education, maybe a little bit of relationship as well, and present a different offer. What a lot of e-commerce and information marketing folks do is they have an initial autoresponder series, and it sells one product at the end, and everybody who doesn't buy, they say, I had 100 people go through. It looks like only 2 people really wanted the product. Well, the fact of the matter is, I'm a believer that maybe that one product wasn't what your people wanted, and maybe you should create multiple products and present them with multiple products. If I owned a car dealership and all I had was Toyota Camrys in red, then I might have a hard time selling everybody who came on the lot with a Toyota Camry in red. But if I offered different makes and models, different colors, different customizations, I might entice more people to actually become customers and buyers. So what we did is we made 3 to 4 week long initial front end sequences that we tested and tweaked over time in order to present a number of our core offers right up front, mixed in with the starting of relationship building as well as education. So we would mix in our straight up content, our straight up kind of e-commerce offers, actual just sort of buy now type offers, with good education, unique videos, quality articles, and then again interspersing that with additional offers, not just presenting people with one. So this is how we worked our marketing automation differently. Now, the other difference that we used with email marketing that really made a difference, and is one of the biggest factors that many of our Blueprint advisory members are making, have grown from, as little as $2,000 and $8,000 a month to, upwards of $25,000, $30,000 a month over the course of the last 6 months alone as I record this, is because of what we do with broadcast messaging. So this is representing broadcast messaging. I'll talk about this in a second. When the marketing automation series is done, for some people that's after 5 days. For us, we're a little bit more persistent about building relationships, educating, and presenting offers in a regimented way, not just doing one of them. We do all three, and we do them in a particular order. Now, when people are just on the email list, they're no longer receiving automation. What most people do is they take their whole email list, and every day, every other day, once a week, whatever, they just blast them. Everybody. All right, today is email day. Let's hit them. Boom. What we call that is a red button email. That's where you take your whole email list and you smash the big red button that says send to everybody. The fact of the matter is that your customers, leads, buyers, subscribers are not the same. And when every day, every week, every few days, they're getting a big blast. I hope you like my sound effects. I don't think I've ever done that on a CLV Boost tutorial before, but I feel like a little bit of a goofball. But if you're sending out the same big ugly blast email to everybody that conveys that you don't really know who they are individually, at some point your engagement drops off sharply. At some point, folks are less likely to want to open your emails, and you're also getting a lower return on investment per email. Okay, instead of doing that, instead of kind of doing the lazy way that doesn't recognize the relationship, what we would do is we would take the same, maybe it's an offer, all right, maybe it's an offer page, or maybe it's an educational page, whatever we're emailing to that day, and we would send it to different groups. We would send it to males, we would send it to females, and we would speak a little bit differently about the offer to males and females, because maybe there's some kind of difference in terms of how they would consume the product, in terms of how it might be useful for them, so we would explain it a little bit differently. So we would send to the same, generally we'd be sending to the same, let's say it's an offer here, I'll draw this as a red box. We would also contact people by weight class. In the martial arts space, we'll contact heavyweights, we'll contact lightweights, and we'll communicate with them in a unique way. We're basically taking the same email a lot of the time here, but all we're doing is we're just conveying, hey, this is why this might be relevant to someone in the heavyweight category. This is why this might be relevant to someone in the lightweight category. So we're sending out the same number of emails as the people that just blast their list, but we're slicing up our overall list to send in different ways to different segments. So different people are hearing about the same offer, but in a different way. We're not just pitching, and sometimes, if there was a product that was just for men, we would exclude women altogether. If there was a product that was just for lightweights, we would exclude the heavyweights altogether. And we would make sure that people who would only be annoyed by seeing something never saw it. Most people with an email list, they know it's inevitable they're going to send people stuff they don't want, and they just accept that and send them the same big blast message. What we've always done over time is break up our list into relevant segments, and that's its own conversation in and of itself, which we could go into in time. We break our email list up into different segments of buyers, prospects, male, female, the kind of demographic and psychographic information that we wanted. We'd send the same volume of emails, but we'd break up our list to make our messaging relevant and resonating with our customers and prospects. What this has done is not only built an overall better list relationship with our subscribers, but it's driven a lot more sales. And that's what we're about to get into now when it comes to creating offers and giving them what they want. So now we'll talk a little bit about giving them what they want. Essentially, how to create offers, products, services that your email subscribers, your social followers, your website visitors are genuinely going to want to purchase. Now, In the process of segmenting our list, which I told you we had done down here when we send out our broadcast messages, in the process of segmenting our list, we would not only use purchase behavior based on what people bought up in this series, as well as maybe where they came in from, what lead source they were from, we would also use surveys. We would constantly survey folks to figure out, are you male, female, what's your primary goal, what's your weight class, what's holding you back right now. The relevant factors, in the martial arts world, we would ask them, are you an instructor or are you just a student? We would figure out all kinds of information that would help us with more effective marketing and relationship building, so we made more money every day from our email sending the same number of emails, but customizing it for better relationship and more revenue. And at the same time, that survey information gave us the right information to build products that we knew our customers would want. We would not guess. We would not say, well, what kind of product do you want to make for the martial arts list? Do you want to create a product around kicks? Do you want to create a product around escapes? Do you want to create a product around takedowns? Instead of guessing and making something that we didn't really know anybody was actually going to want, what we did instead was we used our survey information to constantly ask our own subscribers, what are you most interested in? And by doing so, we're able to create our own offers. What you often find in the e-commerce space, and particularly in the information marketing, internet marketing space, is you find that people have one or maybe two core offers. So I'm using a $ plus a number here to sort of represent. Let me find this thing here. I'm trying to draw around this guy. Okay, so I'm using a $ with a number next to it to represent an offer. So people will have one or two core offers. So normally they're, again, in a very ugly way, blasting their whole email list to this offer, which is their own product. And maybe they're blasting their whole email list to this offer. But at the end of the day, if their list hasn't bought, if their subscribers have not purchased product A, maybe it's a product about abs, how to get great abs or something. I'm just using a fitness example. If they haven't purchased this by the fourth time you've put it in front of their face, you're very unlikely to sell them on it again just the next day. So what these folks in the internet marketing world specifically, even more than e-commerce, what the internet marketers often take as the norm, is they'll just have to start selling other people's products. They'll sell this guy's product, they'll sell this guy's product over here, they'll sell this product over here, they'll sell this product over here, because their list is getting tired of their own offers. So they end up promoting for other people. Now that's not bad, because sometimes those affiliates will promote back for them, but sometimes they won't. So they just sort of accept the fact that in general, a lot of internet marketers, if you go on and I'm not originally from this world, but if you go into the ClickBank world, a lot of people take this for granted. In order to make money every day, I have to promote somebody else's products. Number one, because that's the only way I can get traffic, which I never wanted to be married to, and that's why we use organic and social in kind of our mix for trades and traffic, which we talked about, maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago in this same call. But it's not only the only way that these folks can get traffic, it's often the only way that they can make money. Is because they only have one or two offers, and so when their email subscribers are tired of those offers, they just send the same. Again, we talked about the big red button email. They send the same big red button email over to somebody else's products. Nothing wrong with selling somebody else's products if it's a product that you believe in, but that's not always the case. Sometimes these folks have to sell products that they don't necessarily believe in. Sometimes they have to sell products that really don't make them that much money in terms of margins, but they can't sell their own product 100 more times, and so they have to promote for other people. We wanted to be different. We talked about beforehand, we wanted to be different in terms of traffic. We use organic traffic directly from websites. We use links, we use our SEO traffic, so the search engines will rank us very well if we have a lot of consistent quality articles out there referencing our sites. We get a lot of traffic just from SEO. Then we also get affiliate traffic, or partner traffic, as we might call it, over here. Let's let this thing load up a bit. So we never wanted to be married to one way of getting traffic. We never wanted one short sequence of driving revenue. We wanted to mix in a relationship and core value proposition, education, and offers. We always wanted to keep that relationship and keep that relevance alive in our broadcast emails when it comes to products. Instead of creating one product or two products, we were more prolific in creating our own offers specifically based on what our own subscribers told us they cared about. So we would go out and build products based on the survey results. And one of the most important factors to our revenue is the fact that we sell a lot of subscription and recurring income programs. And so we sell a lot of ongoing curricula in the martial arts and fitness world and various and sundry memberships in the martial arts and fitness world. What most people do is they'll create one membership site page, one membership site offer, and they'll tell their email subscribers, go check out this membership site, this subscription program. And if anybody doesn't purchase from that, if they promote for it a lot, they just say, well, these people aren't interested in that subscription. But what it might be is that they're not interested in that particular version or page of that subscription. So we found that if we have people who are interested in the martial arts world, let's say, folks who are interested in learning submission skills. So this is essentially how to finish a self-defense confrontation with an actual kind of joint lock or a choke or something like that. So in the martial arts world, we have some people that want to learn submissions, and we have an online martial arts curriculum that might cost, let's say, $57 a month. If we include some programs around submission techniques and different jiu-jitsu chokes and joint holds, those folks might purchase from that page. If we create another page and we give away or we offer additional resources for, let's say, escapes or kicking skills or a different martial arts skill, and we include the same martial arts curriculum as part of this package, as part of this separate offer and separate page, it's the same recurring income program. It's just included with different courses. It's accentuating different benefits. It's appealing to different people. Then we could send to this page, and we could sell twice as much of the same membership program as we could if we only had one page. Now we would do this time and time again, and we could have a whole lot of continuously purchasing membership subscribers because we presented them with a whole bunch of different individual membership offers appealing to different benefits and values. So how did we do that? We appealed to, like I said, we have our men, we have our women, we have heavyweights, we have lightweights, we have all these individual sections that we use surveys and purchase behavior to parse out. And once we determine those segments, we'll create pages particular to them. So we'll send them just to a page of a topic that we know that they're interested in. And instead of having, let's say, a 2.5% conversion rate on a $57 a month program, we could jump things to double that. Sometimes with affiliate traffic especially, we could actually double that by appealing to what people actually want. So the way that we create products is in a way that doesn't make us slaves to promoting other people. We only promote other people when we want to. But it also creates products that genuinely resonate with what our individual segments of our following actually want. So we're creating products that they want even more than a generic offer, and in consequence, we're selling more and more of our own recurring income programs or high-ticket courses by tailoring them to specific segments and creating multiple offers to appeal to the multiple interests of our list. And in so doing, we're mostly promoting ourselves. And the only time we'll ever promote for affiliate products is when we can turn it into a fruitful trade and garner traffic from these people to our own website to build our own email list and sort of repeat the process. So we're not beholden to promoting anybody other than ourselves. In the internet marketing world, this is somewhat unheard of. But for me, with an emphasis on relationship, with a firm belief that the future of marketing, whether that be in email, in terms of content marketing, etc., that the future of marketing is about tailoring your marketing to individual segments, individual interests, individual demographics, and building lasting relationships, because most companies will fail. And I believe that's an enduring benefit that won't go away. And no matter how technology advances, enduring customer relationships, I do not believe go away. You can do that with more than marketing gimmicks. You can do that by actually sending them different messages. You can do that by actually building separate programs to appeal to them. And by doing, essentially rolling things out almost in this exact order over the course of the last 2.5 years in 3 different niches, we've been able to go from $0 to $70,000 a month. Now, this is one of 3 businesses that I'm building. I obviously have CLV Boost, which is the consulting business. And I also have Tech Emergence, which is an emerging technology LLC, and a media site in that particular space that I'm going to be increasingly focusing on in the coming years ahead once this e-commerce business is sold. But before it's sold, I really wanted to be able to do a firm breakdown on how we actually did it and how my own core beliefs around what the future of marketing looks like, namely that customer relationships and relevance with your customers, relevance to a firm value proposition that's lasting with your customers, is a differentiator. That's what I wanted to get across today. This is just how that's explained with our own business, with one of my own e-commerce businesses. We have plenty of coaching clients in the blueprint space, advisory clients in the blueprint space, who are essentially learning and replicating these same skills. Again, we have bigger businesses that hire us to do email marketing and marketing automation at a much higher level and use this broadcast messaging at a much higher level to drive revenues. This is just how I learned, and it was by building my own business. It was not just by reading ebooks. And so this is a strategy built on my own philosophies. I figured after getting enough kind of demand for us to kind of crack open the hood, I wanted to do this for everybody, not just for my private coaching clients, to really be able to show everybody sort of what we did, why I think it was a bit different and what I think really worked well for us. So hopefully this was useful for everybody here, and you can look forward to joining us on the next CLV Boost tutorial.